with it, in the hood with it. Welcome back to the Collective Clips, where you already know we about to get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I'm kicking. I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel. It's all because of you. For that, I can say I'm very humbled and I'm very appreciative. Now, I just dropped the Wes Watson video on the other channel. And for some people, it's glitching. They're getting the intro 3 or 4 times. Bear with me. Skip the intro. Get to the guts of the matter before Wes Watson blows his out, right? And it'll be all good in the hood. It just is what it is. But I wanted to answer a question in this video. And as you see, the title was Super Hands, right? Who had the super hands that I've ever come across? Who had the best hands? Who could fight the best? Who was really about that motherfucking smoke? I've seen several guys with several major hands, man. But three stand out more than others, right? Now, in prison, the California prison system, at the levels that I was at, the 3 and 4 levels, there's a no hands policy, meaning you don't fight, right? Now, there are some groups that fight, but for the most part, if you're on a 180 level 4 or even a 270, you're not going to see many people fighting. You might see someone get slept in, the metal put in them. You might see someone get choked out. But as far as an actual fade, head up, one-on-one, you're not getting that. You don't got that coming because it's so dangerous and so real that the only way to get off on someone is to put metal in them, slice them. That's just how it is in prison. But in the Youth Authority, it was a little bit different. In CYA, it was gladiator school. It was all hands-on policy, anytime, every time. Look, out of 365 days of the year, you're going to fight 968 times. It just is what it is. You didn't have the comforts, the creature comforts to deny a fade. You couldn't say, nah, bro, I'm not feeling good. And people took advantage of that. I remember one time, man, all the norteños in Nellis, we were in Fred C. Nellis down south in Whittier. We all got sick. We all got the flu. There were several Southerners that were sick. The whole Copa was sick, right? But every one of the homies was sick. We were on our bunks. We couldn't even get out of our bunks. And I remember a Southsider came walking up and I was like, damn, bro, this fool's going to call me out. And I might throw up on his motherfucking boots, right? I'm feeling bad right now. I couldn't even deny the fate if I wanted to. That's real life, right? But I remember him walking up and he was like, hey, Holmes, you want a spread on? Right? He was like, hey, ese. And I was like, fuck. Tried to ignore him. I had the blanket over my head and shit. I was shaking. You know, I had the cold sweats and I took the fucking blanket down and he was like, hey, ese, I just want to let you and your people know that we're not going to take advantage of the situation. We understand you vatos are sick. We don't want you at your worst. We want you at your best. And I'll never forget that. And I always respect the Southsiders for that. Because that vato was like, don't trip. Ain't no one going to fuck with you guys. Ain't no one going to take advantage. Go ahead and be sick. Get over it. And then me and you got to do something. I said, well, shit, absolutely. Went right back to sleep. But there were situations where people did take advantage of each other. And I seen a dude, he had just got back from surgery. And the first thing all his enemies did was call him out. Rip his stitches open. It gets ugly, right? But I wanted to answer a question that's asked to me all the time. And the question is, who had the most super duper hands you ever seen in your life? Well, there's been a lot of people. You know, I got primos that got super duper hands. I got homeboys from my neighborhood. I got one homeboy that kiss of death. That's where I actually get the word menudo from. He'd knock dudes out their boot heels so hard, right? Oh, Wes Watson would have been a victim. He'd knock dudes out so hard that he would whisper in their ear, hey, you're going to be so hungover from that knockout in the morning, you're going to need menudo. That's where I got the word in a menudo style. It's a knockout punch, right? So the first guy I wanted to talk about was a guy named Snoop from A. Trey Hoover. His last name was Westbrook. I forget his first name. This motherfucker was banned from the playing basketball, playing handball, playing hacky sack, playing Scrabble, Dungeons and Dragons. It didn't matter what you try to play against this dude. It always ended up in a fight. I actually was celled up with him right before I left Nellis. He was the last cellie I had. Coolest dude I ever met. Didn't even look like a gang member. No tattoos, none of that. Looked like he should be in college. Could play basketball like no other. He was like the Michael Jordan that never got discovered. Only thing is, he was also like the Tyson before the Jake Paul fight, right? This dude had super duper crazy hands. And every time he played sports, nobody wanted to play with him. He'd go out there with the basketball. He always had a basketball. He'd be bouncing. He'd be like, what's up? And I remember Snap from Legend Crip used to be like, on Legends, I ain't playing Snoop. On Legends, cuz, right? He was a rest in peace Snap, right? He was like, hell no, I ain't playing this dude. Because he argued, he tussled, he fought, and he always knocked people out. Okay, one thing about this dude, what made his hands so deadly was he had shredder hands. He was skinny and he had these bony ass knuckles, and anything he touched, he destroyed, right? Anything he hit, he shredded him. Believe me, just blood everywhere. It was all bad with that dude. I seen that dude, so he fought this dude from PJ Watts named Young Deg. And Young Deg was a loudmouth. Young Deg was the homie though. Me and him got down a gang of times. And it's crazy that I can say he's the homie. We got down a gang of times, but we enjoyed fighting each other because we were like equal. Snoop was on another level. Let's just say that. And I remember one time they were playing basketball and Snoop dunked on Deg. And Deg was like, oh man, you're taller than me, this. He just started woofing out the side of his neck. And Snoop, that was the last person. You didn't even want to fucking watch his basketball games. He started getting mad at the crowd for if they booed, right? So I'm sitting there watching and I'm seeing Young Deg. I'm like, pobre, see, that vato's going to have his fist up your ass faster than Wes Watson gets fucked. It's all bad. Sure enough, it was. Young Deg wasn't no sucker though. He wasn't no punk. He wasn't denying a fade from anyone. You couldn't do that in the authority. Like I said, you couldn't deny that fade. So dude was like, well, we just go behind the handball court and I'll just beat you up. Deg was like, oh, cuz you ain't beating me up. He said, oh, no, I'm beating you up. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take me to do it, right? So they're talking back and forth, and Snoop starts getting crazy. He's one of those motherfuckers. He starts shaking and shit. So he goes behind the handball court, and he's waiting there for a good 5 minutes. He keeps telling Deg, come. And for some reason, there was always a cop looking or something going on, so Deg couldn't make it back there, right? He could have easily just walked over behind the handball court and threw his things. But he had to tie one shoe, then he had to tie the other shoe, then he had to take his little chain off, then he had to make sure the homie was holding his address book, then he had to go get a drink of water, then he had to go make his bed, then he had to go talk to his counselor, then he had to go to the school area real quick to make sure that everything was everything. By the time, 10 minutes later, when he finally got behind the handball court, he got knocked out in 32 seconds. It was bad. That fool ate him up. Snoop ate him up. And every person Snoop fought, he ate up. Now, Snoop's going to come back into the play. I could say right there, Snoop from A. Trey Hoover salutes, bro. Major super hands. Well, the next one is a homeboy, a Norteño, right? Soldier Boy from 6th Street, Stockton, Javier Velez. He's a legend. He's legendary, okay? My legend is different from other people's legends. I'm saying he's a legendary vato for having hands. Everyone on 6th Street in Stockton knows this vato had crazy mitts. Right? Tall, big, just built like a tree, right? Didn't give a fuck about no one or anything. And everybody knew not to fuck with them. So there was a couple incidents, and I've spoken on them in the past. There was one incident, right? And I've talked about it, where there was a vato named Tigre from F Troop. And Tiger had just got there. He was a resident, right? A resident meaning he kicked it with the Southern car, but he wasn't actually from a barrio. But he was claiming F Troop, and there was some F Troopers there that were like, hey, if you're going to be claiming our neighborhood, you're going to have to fucking throw hands with the Northerner or something. You're going to like have to prove yourself, right? He was down. He was a big old boy. I remember I was tripping that he was just a resident, but he was a big old baby-faced kid. He gets in there. He's probably about 17, 18, man. Just a big chunky motherfucker. And he walks in and I was sitting on the bunk and it was me right here on one. We were on the short wall. I was on a bunk and Soldier Boy was on the next bunk. Now, mind you, Soldier Boy's like 6'1", 6'2" at the time. 18 years old, just a beast. And we're bumping, boom, we're bumping that RBL. What bitch be on, what bitch be on, what bitch be on my jock, right? And I got my headphones on, he got his headphones on, and that dude Tiger, we can see the Southerners are kind of looking at us. So I'm telling Soldier, I'm hitting him on the leg, like, hey, bro, it might go down. You know, the motherfuckers are tripping. He took his headphones on, he said, man, I'm knocking everything down, I ain't worried about it. All right, cool. That fool Tiger and another little dude comes up to us, and he's like, hey, homie, hey, Holmes, right? And I take my headphones back. I'm like, what's up? He's like, hey, I'm trying to see you. And I was like, oh, shit, because this is a big old dude, and I can't deny it. So I'm like, fuck. He goes, no, not you, him. I said, who? Right? Because no one called Soldier Boy out. They knew. This fool knocked out everything he touched. Everything. Up until this point, he was well undefeated. You think Tyson had a good record? Shit, this vato had an immaculate record, right? It didn't last past fucking 10 seconds. I was like, are you sure? Right? I'm asking the enemy, like, are you sure you want that smoke? He's like, yeah. His homeboys already knew what time it was. They were making him a crash dummy. They were sending him, he was going to be part of the crowd, but they were sending him to see if he had the heart of being part of the crowd without telling him what being part of the crowd was going to, entail. So he tells Soldier's like, I'm like, hey, Soldier, right? And he's like, what's up? He takes his headphone, because he's not even looking. He don't give a fuck. He didn't care. He wasn't intimidated by no one. So he takes his headphone back. He's like, what's up? Right? That fool was like, hey, bro, we're going to go in the cell. I want to see you. And Soulja Boy's like, are you sure? You know who I am? He was like, I don't give a fuck. Ooh. They start arguing a little bit. Soulja was, all right, cool. I'll be right back. He was like, hey, bro, I put my shit on pause. Don't even skip it. It's going to be quick. Goes in the cell. Everyone's looking like, oh, shit, Soulja Boy's going in the cell. We had never seen him go in the cell. Most motherfuckers didn't want to go in the cell with him because they might not come back. You heard. Soulja Boy stuck his head out and said, hey, I just knocked your homeboy out. He went back in the cell. He comes out. He said, I just woke him up. That dude came out. Hey, what the fuck? I thought you said he had a glass jaw. It was over, right? I seen Soulja Boy fight a guy from Baker's. And this dude was a little dude, man. And I don't know what he was thinking, but he wanted to prove himself too. And he called Soulja Boy out behind the handball court. And Soulja Boy hit this dude so hard, he did a 360, right? And had a black eye for over 2 years. It was all bad. He split his whole shit with one hit. He had major, major hands. When we'd be in school riots, motherfuckers would hit me and just run around him. That's how major he was. And that's the truth, right? There was a dude that came out of Nixon, which was like the shoe, the equivalent to the shoe for the Southsiders. And he comes and everyone's like, ooh, he was a big old swole dude. He was from Gardenia. And everybody was like, damn, hey, now fucking Soulja's going to meet his match because that dude supposedly had hands. That fool called Soulja out right when he got there. Like, hey, can I get at you in the day room? I was like, ooh, everyone was like, shit. We were all in the fucking dorm waiting. They were going to get off in the day room. We went in there. They were playing chess and shit, laughing. Real ones recognize real ones. I'll just say that, right? It never went down. But Soulja Boy, I've heard many stories about him on the streets. And there's no one that could deny that fool had major super hands. He's on the list, right? Now, the third one is a Southsider. His name, he was from Young Boys, or Young Crowd. Excuse me, Young Crowd, Linwood, Young Crowd. Man, this motherfucker knew karate, homie. This vato would kick your head all the way up off your shoulders and it'll land in Wes Watson's asshole. He'll just hoop it. This vato had major, major mitts. Man, anytime his enemies came, anytime I seen, so he fights this dude named Monk from East Coast Crip who ended up turning into a transmission later on, right? Man, he hit him so hard that motherfucker didn't know his gender identity anymore. So anyways, this dude Monk had hands too. Monk was with the business for a minute until he was with the different type of business, right? But this dude Monk, they're playing basketball and that fucking dude Grumps, he's just kicking back. That's what his name was, Grumpy from Young Crowd, right? And he's kicking back. Tall dude. I remember he used to wear his pants all high and shit. He was a super Southsider. Like he was Southsidered out the game. And he was cool though. He'd always smoke his little frao and just kick back with his little ranfla. And this fool's talking shit. And he tells him, hey, bro, don't be mad because you missed that shot, esse. And that fool's like, why y'all getting in black business, right? And he said, hey, why you getting in my business, homie? This is my compa. This is our compa. We were sitting back like, damn, we thought it was our compa too, right? So anyways, they get to arguing like, hey, we can go in the cell as soon as we go in. And that's how motherfuckers would do it. They'll go into the day room, go down to the dorm, run up in a cell, handle their business. Most of the time, the cops didn't even trip. They'd hear noise like, it's people selling in and shit. So that was the way to disguise it, right? Man, these dudes didn't even make it in the cell. They got down the hallway and Monk knew. So he tried to swing on him because everyone knew Grumpy he knew karate, right? I didn't know. I knew now, right? He swung and like spun. And when he came back, that motherfucker jumped up and kicked him right in his face. Boom! Done. Jaw broken. When he got back, he used it for sucking dick. It was later on in life, right? He kicked that dude's whole jaw that way. His nose went that way. It was bad. Then I said, that motherfucker got Chuck Norris skills. Any fight after that, it was all kicking. I never seen him throw his hands, so I guess we'd call him super kicks, not super hands. That motherfucker would do spinning back kicks. John Bones Jones, before John Bones Jones had bones and he was John Jones. You understand what I'm saying? Major, major, major fight skills, right? So let me tell you guys like this. So 2 of these guys had to see each other. So Snoop was my cellie, and Soulja Boy was about to leave to Carl Holton. They were shipping him out. And what had happened was Snoop was thinking, I remember in the cell, we had this little old TV, and I'm watching it, right? And Snoop was always cool with the Norteños. That's why they sold us up together. That was the first black dude that I was ever sold up with in YA. That was the homie, right? And so Snoop's like, man, what's up with that fool Soulja Boy, bro? He's shipping out tomorrow. I said, yeah, they're going to ship him out. He has a drug program. They're going to do it in Carl Holton. They had just made Carl Holton a whole drug program facility. We were on a drug program right there in Nellis, but they gave us like packets. It was bullshit, right? We all got stuck there. But they were going to ship him out to Carl Holton, which I ended up ultimately going because I still had to finish my drug program, right? And I ended up making it there after Preston, but they were sending him there. And Snoop was just looking out the window. I remember Soulja Boy's in the dorm. And he was like, bro, that fool really have hands like that? I said, you seen what I've seen, bro? He said, I don't think his hands are like that. I said, well, shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. He was like, yeah, bro, I think I'm going to catch a friendly fade with this cat. And I was like, you and Soulja Boy? That was like the main event. That was like Canelo Benavidez, right? That was like Tyson and whoever else he fucked up that gave him a little competition, right? It was crazy. I was like, for reals? What happened, bro? He disrespect you? Because usually you had to disrespect Snoop and say that he couldn't dunk and shit, and then he'll get crazy. He's like, nah, bro, I've always wanted to see what his hands are like for reals. I said, okay. So I went out there. He's like, tell him. So I went out there. I was like, hey, Soulja. He's like, what's up, bro? And he was a North End. That was the homie. I was like, hey, homie, that fool Snoop said go in the cell. He wants to see you. He said, what? That's the homie. I said, I know, but he said he wants to test the skills. Snoop said, and Soulja Boy knew Snoop had hands. And he was like, all right, I'm gonna put him on the lista then. He's gonna be on the list. I said, all right. He goes, hey, tell him after chow, man, I'll run up in there when, the cops are not watching. So I tell him, when I go up in the cell, I'm like, hey, bro, he said after chow, Snoop was like, for sure, cuz, for sure, right? I'm like, oh, for surely though, it's about to go down. So I came out and I told the homeboy Spanky from Gilas and Shadow from Richmond, these were the homies. I was like, hey, bro, fucking Snoop and Soulja are about to fight. And Soulja Boy was real cool with Bad Boy from Sakura, so they're over there talking about it. And, Bad Boy from Sakura, he had always had a chip on his shoulder. He wanted to fight too. He had hands too, but not like Soulja Boy. And so we're waiting. Everyone, hey, chow. Now the word spread already. I don't know who the fuck said it. I told a couple homeboys. Now everybody knows. I don't know if it was Snoop or Soulja Boy, but now everyone in the chow's eating. It's all quiet and shit. The cops are looking like, what the fuck who's going to get stabbed today, right? We get back. Soulja Boy ran up in that cell. To this day, I don't know who won, but they both came out fucked up. Nobody got knocked out. I'm going to be real. You heard it. They were hitting like thunder. You know what I mean? I was on top. She was up under. The motherfucker hit the cell. It sounded like thunder. Boom, boom, boom. They were throwing them, right? It was really vicious. So we never figured out. Neither one of them spoke on it. We were all like, hey, what's happening there? But they closed the door so you couldn't see. All we seen was fucking hair and fucking and body parts, right? These motherfuckers were going at it. So on the streets, there was another homeboy. Small homeboy Monkey, right? Monkey from my neighborhood. Now, this motherfucker was different. One time we get pulled over. True story, right? We're on Bear Creek driving to Merced. We got this like creek that runs through the city, right? The town. And we get pulled over. And we had just went to the car wash to wash the homeboy's cutlass. So it's me, him, and the homeboy G. And we just washed G's cutlass. And none of us smoked weed. Unless there was yay in it, right? And we didn't have none. I'm just going to be honest. We didn't have no weed or yay, none of that. So we're kicking back. We get pulled over. And there was a cop named Officer Zhang. He's no longer with us, right? He passed away, but he was a cool little cop, little stocky motherfucker. He didn't harass no one or nothing. But all of a sudden, he's with this white dude. They're searching the car. They got us snatched up, handcuffed. They're searching the car because we're gang members, known gang members together, right? And they find an eighth of weed in the back seat. Now I was sitting in the back seat, me and Monkey Monkey was sitting in the passenger seat. G was driving, it was his cuddy. I was in the back seat. So they find the eighth, and G looks at me like, "Damn, motherfucker!" And this back when they used to trip off weed hardcore, right? And I'm looking at him. I'm like, "Bro, I don't smoke weed. Like, fuck that. That ain't mine, right?" I'm like, "Bro, you had to have that. Someone dropped it." And Monkey's like, "Shh, that ain't mine." We're all looking at each other because we didn't know. We just washed the car, just vacuumed it out. There was no way that they just find it sitting on the seat. I didn't throw it out of my pocket for reals, right? So that cop, Jean's like, yeah, hey, they call you Monkey. He tells the homeboy, and the Monkey's like, yeah, what's up? He was like, yeah, I heard you got the major hands. Monkey's like, yeah, I've been known to fuck people up. What's up? He was like, look, we're going to do it like this. If you could beat my ass, we'll catch that fade. If you could beat my ass, I'll let you guys all go. But if I beat your ass, one of you guys is going to go to jail. Which one? I said, hey, Monkey, beat the shit out of that dude. I'll go to jail if you don't. I already knew what it was. But you can't sleep on the Asian dudes, right? They know that Mao Lao, right? Shit. If Monkey didn't break that fool handcuff Monkey, and Monkey picked him up, dipped him on his head, and got to beating the dog shit out of him, right? And as a man of his word, after he's all right, enough, no, right? After he got his ass whooped, that fool unhandcuffed us, gave us the eighth of weed, so we came up and let us leave. The other cop was like, hey, why'd you give him our weed? I was like, see, I told you. And that was that. So I've seen dudes with many hands. As far as getting asked, have I seen dudes with major hands in prison? There are dudes that are talked about, like having major super hands, but I've never seen them in real life because, again, man, where I've been, now I haven't been to the 1s and the 2 yards. I've been to the 3s and 4s. You're not allowed to really throw them like that. I remember there was one Uso, man, he used to choke people out like bad, right? But as far as like major hands, not in the state of California. I've seen dudes with major hands. I can tell you, look, out of state, I was doing time. Oregon, man, there was a dude. He was Native American. And it's a trip. I'm trying to watch what I say with him. He had super duper hands. He was a Golden Glove boxer. Everyone knew what it was. But he was also a chiruju. So he would go into this mode where he tripped out and he thought he was a chick and shit. And when these young white dudes used to come on the building, he used to put these not boxing gloves, but like workout gloves on and put eyeliner on it. And he was going to take their shit. And it was all bad, right? He had major hands. I've seen him beat up a whole bunch of people. The cops tried to stop him one time from doing something bad to someone, and he did something bad to everybody. So, but other than that, man, you don't really see dudes with hands or that you remember. But that dude Grumps, Snoop, and Soulja Boy definitely stood out. So with that being said, I hope I answered that question to the people that keep asking. There it was, man. They had battles, wars. Hey, you used to see motherfuckers get hit hard. I remember when Stone from Raymond Avenue Crip and Young Deg, right? Deg was talking shit. Everybody was going in on Stone. He was a light-skinned cat. I don't know why, but they were going in on him. And Stone finally had enough. And he said, well, fuck it then. Let's go behind the lockers. You used to come in from Chow and you walk down this hallway and then there was locker area with the showers. So people would run first thing in the morning, right after breakfast, by the shower areas and chunk them. Any place that could be fought in, people fought. So that dude fucking Stone ran, Deg ran, and you heard boom, boom. He knocked all Deg's whole frontals out. After that, Stone was the man. He ended up being a shot caller and shit. True story. Shout out to Raymond Avenue Crip, man. With that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's giving you guys the best entertainment I can. The Gun.